Hello, it's Sunday lunchtime here in the UK and it's a lovely bright sunny day at last. Normally I come on and I complain that the weather's so completely awful, but it's not. It's really nice and sunny today. It's also Father's Day here in the UK. So if you're celebrating Father's Day, a very happy Father's Day to you. We'll be celebrating a bit later on today. I want to chat to you today about the very basics to do with Facebook Live because I'm a vocal coach and a public speaking coach. I obviously want to get to the nitty-gritty of how to use your voice, how to present to camera, how to plan what you're going to say, how to communicate it with confidence and with ease, how to prepare speeches, things like that. You know, I'm kind of concerned with the voice and using your words powerfully and being able to convey your message really powerfully. But the more that I've done the Facebook Live training and the more that I've been going live on Facebook, the more I realise that actually for many of you, you've never attempted Facebook Live. You've never even had a go. Some of you might have tried once or twice, but for most of you, this is actually a really new technology and you're yet to use it. So I thought I would come on and do some really straightforward, very basic training on how to get started with Facebook Live. Now, if you've kind of got to the point where you're already using Facebook Live a little bit, there's loads of other training you'll find on my Facebook page, the one that you're on currently, the Light of 1,000 Stars, and also on my website. There's lots of video training, lots of advice on how to hone what you're going to say, how to prepare, what to wear and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to go over that again in this training. Today's is going to be assuming that you've not used it before, that you've got no idea how Facebook Live works and you want some basic guidance to get you started. Now, if you've got an issue about confidence, about what to wear, if you're worried about being criticised, I've covered all of that in previous training. So go and have a ratch around through the videos, go and watch them with a cup of tea. There's loads of advice on those kinds of issues for you. So today I am going to assume, one, that you've overcome the nerves and you finally think, okay, I'm going to do it. Two, that you've kind of got yourself together and you know that you might get criticised, but you've kind of got some strategies in place to help you deal with it if that happens, and very often it doesn't. And three, that you kind of know what it is you would be using Facebook Live for. So I'm going to assume those three things are things that you've already thought about, contemplated, and you're now ready to go on Facebook Live. If those things are still on your mind, there's loads of training for you. Go on the website, lightof1000stars.co.uk. So let's get started. So, Facebook Live is pretty much rolled out across everybody now. I know some people still struggle to get it on laptops and some other devices. I'm Android, I'm an Android user and I'm in the UK, so that was like waiting doubly the length of time compared to America, where you guys appear to have already had it for such a long time compared to some of us. So Facebook Live now is pretty much rolled out across everybody. If you haven't got it on your phone, try taking the app off, the Facebook app off, and reinstalling it. You may well find that that allows you, suddenly gives you access, you've been updated. Hi Laura, lovely to have you. Happy Sunday and happy Father's Day. Thank you for joining me. So I'm talking about the very basics of Facebook Live, how to use it if you've never used it before and why you might use it. So the first thing to do is to go onto the page that you want to broadcast from. Now, if you're a business, you're obviously going to be broadcasting from your business page. So you would go onto that page and you would click into where you would normally write a status. So normally if you went to go and upload a photo, or you went to write in a status and say something about the business or what you were offering or whatever it might be, and you get the options, and you'll have seen this loads of times when you've gone to write a status, and it includes photo, video, and a couple of other things that you can add. You should now have a little logo, and the best way I can describe it is it looks like a person, like sort of head and shoulders of an outline of a person, and they've got a circle kind of above them twice. Not the greatest description, but if you go on and have a look in your status box, you'll spot this little icon, and that is the one for Facebook Live. Now that means that you are transmitting video live. So anybody that's on your page and is watching will see you, see a video, and they will see it as you are broadcasting, okay? So if you click on that button, an option box comes up for you to write in what your video is about. So at that point you would add whatever the subject matter is that you were going to talk about in your live that day. So you'll see on mine, I think I've said something like Facebook Live, the basics. So that lets anybody know that's joining you or might watch this later, because the video can be posted to your Facebook page for people to watch later on after you've broadcast it. That lets them know what the subject matter is. So fill that in and make sure that you've put a title that looks interesting. Most people would be interested in the basics of using Facebook Live, especially if you're watching a Facebook Live and you're interested in using it for your business. So once you've done that, you hit the Go Live button. You will see that underneath it there is a blue button, I think on my iPad, which is what I'm talking to you now on, and the blue button says Go Live. Now if you've not got a strong enough signal, if you haven't got enough, if you're not able to have decent Wi-Fi, or you're not on the internet and it's not strong enough, the signal, then it will tell you that. It will come up and tell you that you can't go live at that point. So you need to kind of figure out another way of getting internet access. So you can't go live if the signal is poor. But if it's fine, as I'm at home today, so it's obviously on the Wi-Fi, so my signal is fine. So it comes up with the blue box and you click Go Live. Now once you've hit that button, you're committed to going live. You're about to broadcast. So just before you hit it, you can see yourself on the screen. So that's the point at which I would recommend that you check your appearance. So like now I can look at the screen here and I can see what my hair looks like and makeup, and I kind of look tidy, and so I'm happy to go. So do that before you hit the Go Live button, okay? I see lots of people going live, and the first thing they're doing is, they're doing this, checking themselves, and on it goes, and they do it sometimes through the lives as well. It's really distracting. So try to check your appearance, which you can do before you hit the Go Live button. Once you've hit the Go Live button, you will get a 3-second countdown. So very helpfully, Facebook doesn't just go, okay, you're live. You get a 3, 2, 1, and then you are live. And at the top of my screen now, above my head in the image, I can see a little red button that says the word live. Next to it, I can see a little eye, and then it tells me how many people are watching me live. So I know I'm live, and I know I've got people watching. So hello to everybody who's watching. Now that live button means that I am broadcasting. So everything from that point means you are being seen and you are being watched live. Don't be disheartened on your first few lives, sometimes quite a few lives, if you just don't get anybody coming on live. There's technique to growing your audience, there's technique to inviting people to come and join you, and I will share some of that with you in another training. That's for another day, but don't be disheartened. The other great thing about that is it means that as long as you're happy at the end, you can save it and know you did a great live, and you haven't had to worry that everybody was watching you at the moment you were live, that they can go and watch it later. So actually it's not bad if you don't get many people to start with. Don't worry about it, because you can save the live and it will save to your Facebook page, your business page, and then people can access that in their own time. So it counts you down, 3, 2, 1. Once you are live, always say hello, introduce yourself, say hi to everybody, tell them who you are, say where you are. I always try and say something about where I am. I know that I get a lot of people watching here in the United States, for example. Now I'm obviously UK based, so I often burble on at the start of my lives about the weather because I know it's kind of an obsession here in the UK, and it's an obsession of mine, so I like to share the weather. But say hello, introduce yourself, and like I did at the start of this training, I explained to you what I was going to be talking about today and why. So I explained that because I'm a voice coach, I do an awful lot with you about how to use your voice and how to use words really powerfully for your business and to get your message across. But actually for a lot of you, long before you do that, you're struggling with just getting started with Facebook Live. So I thought it would be really helpful to come on live and give you some training on that. So I've explained a little bit about what we're going to cover today and why we're going to cover it. The other thing that's really good is if you've got people watching is to invite them to ask you questions if you feel like you might be confident enough to answer them, or certainly ask for feedback. So really, Facebook Live is like a conversation. So I did a training a couple of days ago. There were lots of people on that and there was lots of questions to and fro. At the bottom of my screen, and you'll have this too, when anybody asks a question, it comes up. It tells me who's asked the question and what that question is. So you can look down, read the question and respond to it immediately. That takes a little bit of practice. I will do some more detailed training on that for you and how to handle that so you don't feel completely thrown by it, and also what to do if you feel like you don't know the answer, because I know that's one thing that scares a lot of you, is what if I'm asked questions I don't know the answer to. We will come to that. It's a bit more advanced for Facebook Live, but that's where the questions will come. It'll also show you, if people want to be visible, it'll show you who's joining, so you can say hello. You can also tell them, so if people are joining part of the way through the live, you might say, hi, welcome, we're chatting today about X. So you're just kind of bringing them into a conversation. It's a conversation and it's much more relaxed and informal. So you can easily do that by just saying hi, or even if people are not making themselves known, you can just say hi to everyone who's watching. And I've got a few people today watching, not sure who everybody is, but you're all very welcome, and it's really nice to have people come and join you. And remember that you're talking to them. You know, that's what you're there for. They've come to listen to you because they hope that you've got something that might be of interest, that they might be able to go away and apply, that might make them feel uplifted and helped. So don't be frightened to treat it as a conversation. So a couple of basic things then. Don't do your hair. Don't be constantly doing this. I mean, I'm just doing it. It's just annoying me just doing it. It's annoying watching somebody do that. So don't spend all your time constantly checking your appearance. Check it before you go live and just kind of trust you look okay. Second thing is, talk to the lens of your iPad, machine, phone, whatever it is you're using. Don't talk here. So what I'm saying here is I'm looking at myself on the screen. So you can see that my eye line is down here instead of up here at you. So that's where people's eyes are. That's how you will communicate with them, not down here. So try to figure out on your machine, whatever it is you're using, where is the lens, and talk to the lens. Don't spend all the time here, because all you're doing is staring at yourself and probably thinking, don't like that, I don't like this, my hair, whatever. You know, you're probably just getting yourself into a panic because you're looking at yourself all the time as well, and it's distracting. Always at the lens. The other thing to tell you is you don't need to sit and just stare at the lens intently and never take your eyes off it, because nobody speaks to somebody else like that. So you don't need to be completely locked onto the lens the whole time. And you will see as I present and talk to you, I sometimes look down at my notepad. You can see when I'm thinking because my eyes kind of go up into my head. So thoughts will come into your mind. You don't need to be constantly glued to that. But equally, don't be staring to the side like this or up above. You can see how it just doesn't look very nice. And it's also really distracting, because if I'm talking and I'm doing this all the time, you're probably thinking, you know, what's she looking at? It's really distracting. So try and keep your eyes towards that lens. But don't be frightened if you've got notes, for example, to glance down, refer to them. In normal speech we would do that. We wouldn't stare into somebody's eyes and never take our eyes off them for 20 minutes. It just isn't how we would behave in normal conversation. So try to look at the screen. You don't need to keep constant eye contact, you don't. I would say in terms of just kind of framing it, you need your camera vertically. And you need to keep it still. I'm using an iPad today and it's just leaning on a stand. Now, some Facebook Lives can look amazing if you are walking, for example, and you've got your phone, and in that case there's every reason for the phone to kind of be moving. But I would always just be careful about how much movement there is. I see some lives and it makes you feel seasick. It's all over the place, and so if there's no particular reason to be on the move, and sometimes there will be, but that's more advanced in terms of lives, I would say. So if you're doing what I'm doing, which is sitting in my office and doing some training, try to find a way to keep your phone, your laptop or whatever still. If you're using a mobile or an iPad, there are loads of little gadgets you can get on eBay and other places where you can just attach them to a stand and it holds it for you. And you can do that with mobile phones. You could do that when you're on the move, actually. And I will look at some of the equipment that you can use to help you. But I mean, on the whole, I've just got a very basic iPad cover here, and it folds out and allows my iPad to stand upright. So you get a straightforward image with no movement in it. So that's definitely something to think about, and portrait as well. If you try and turn landscape, you end up with appearing like this. You kind of appear that way across the screen. Most video, I would always urge you to film landscape, but with Facebook Live it doesn't work like that. Keep it upright. And the other thing to think about is it's square. You can see that when you're watching. The image is actually square anyway, so a lot of it is cropped for Facebook. So an upright portrait position for your camera or your iPad, and be filmed that way. And like I say, don't be frightened to look down, be relaxed, use your notes. There's no harm in that at all, okay, because you're live and because it's like a normal conversation. So just a couple of other things to say. If new people join, don't be frightened to kind of just reiterate a couple of points. So you might spot, what tends to happen is you go live and a few minutes in, a couple of people extra will notice you're live, because they'll have seen you in the feed, so they'll quickly click on, and you could be several minutes in. So there's no harm in saying, some new people have joined, hi guys, this is what we're chatting about today, and I've just explained that you need to do A, B and C. And what that does is kind of invite them into the chat, into the conversation. It includes them, it lets them know that you've seen them, and it brings them up to speed nice and quickly. Don't be frightened that those who are already watching have heard all that, because often people really appreciate a recap, particularly if they're taking notes. So if you're midway through, there's no harm in saying, for those of you who are new, just joined us, I'm going to recap on a couple of things that I've just shared with you. And that can be really helpful for everybody actually, and it certainly makes the new people feel involved. We'll go over in another training how to deal with the interaction, because the interaction is important, and I'll get sort of more specific with you about that and how to deal with that in a separate training. Don't let that fear put you off, because like I say at the start, it's quite unusual, I think, to get instant and immediate interaction and feedback. So actually the first few lives you do, you'll probably find there's barely anybody watching or only a couple. So don't be intimidated by that, get going, and I will do this week, I will do some training on what to do about that interaction and how to make that work for you. Always introduce yourself, always say hi, this is who I am, this is why I'm here, kind of thing. It's just really nice. You wouldn't walk into a room full of strangers and not say who you were, so that's what you do. You have to remember with Facebook Live that you are interrupting someone's day. Somebody has to actually make a decision to click on your video and watch you, so you are literally coming into their living room or wherever they are and demanding their attention through your live. So you wouldn't just walk into a room and start talking at people. You would walk in and go, hi, this is who I am, this is what I do. How are you all doing? How is everybody? Tell me a bit about you. You know, you'd encourage some kind of interaction. And the more that you can think of Facebook Live like that, the more you will find it a more comfortable medium to use. The minute you think it's some kind of performance is when I think for a lot of us, the nerves kick in. Smile. I've written that in big letters and it's underlined. Smile. Facebook Live should be fun. I mean, it's a very different way to communicate. You don't have to have this completely professionally polished corporate kind of appearance. You know, that's just not what Facebook Live is there for. There are loads of amazing ways to use it, but just smiling invites people in. You know, smile, it sounds so basic, but a smile is an amazing way to draw people in and to make your live feel more comfortable to watch, actually. So you don't need to grin endlessly, but I think sometimes because we're scared and we're nervous, we forget to just smile. And the other thing to tell you is that being positive in a Facebook Live is always far more welcome than coming on to rant and rage and be negative about things. Most people are watching for something to do with them. They're looking to see how you can help them. How can you make their day better? What can you give them? What can they walk away after watching 15 minutes of you with? How can you help them? How can you be useful? So coming on and being kind of negative, or coming on and using it as an excuse to kind of, I don't know, lambast your critics or moan about things, actually for most people it's not something they particularly want to engage with. So I would definitely encourage you to stay positive, stay upbeat, and always think about what is it I am going to share with you today. So I sat down today before I came live and wrote down the things I'm going to share with you. I'm very clear about I was going to teach you the basics of Facebook Live, what to expect when you hit that live button, and sort of things that you should do and things to try and avoid. Now that was really specific in my mind before we came live. You should do the same, and you should try to do that in as friendly and as an approachable way as you can. And finally, my best advice is to be yourself, because the moment we try to put on an act and be something we're not, or behave in a way that we wouldn't behave normally, is the moment it can kind of all go a bit wrong or feel wrong. And you can feel awful about it and awkward because you just have had to put on some kind of pretense. So while I would always say remain professional in the sense that you're coming on to represent your business and represent what you do, so you need to think about that all the time. What's on brand for you? What connects with your message? You also need to be you. So you need to understand that it's okay to relax. It's okay to make mistakes. It's live. That's going to happen. So smiling, being you, being relaxed, being positive, and being determined to offer something of value are some of the most basic but most profoundly impactful steps that you can take to have Facebook Lives that work for you and your business, that generate interest, generate income, bring you clients, bring you people who are very connected to what you do. Since I've been doing Facebook Lives, which I think is about, 10 days now, I've been trying to do them every day and get much more visible using them. And it's been amazing to see the amount of feedback that has come from that. Not just from those who are sort of directly likely to be clients, but friends and other people who've kind of been watching. It's been really interesting. Going live makes you human. Going live turns you into someone that people want to connect with, that they're interested in you. They're interested in what you do, what you offer. They're interested in how you might help them. It makes you more real, more human. They see the face of this business rather than the website, where it's sometimes very difficult to get to know sometimes even who's behind a company and a business. Actually, Facebook Live makes you very real. There's the person, this is who I'd be talking to, this is what they look like, this is what they sound like. So Facebook Live can be an incredible tool for your business. And I'm going to spend the next couple of days going through some more detailed tips with you on how to use Facebook Live. But today's has been all about the basics, just getting started, because I know lots of you are yet to actually even press the button and have a go. So those would be my basic tips. I'm just going to quickly run through them again so you can jot them down in your notebook. The first thing is, when you go onto your page, make sure it's the page you want to be broadcasting from. Click on the status, and in there you'll see the little icon that looks like somebody with circles around them. That's the live icon. Click on that. Then a window will pop up and you write in what the video is going to be about. So what are you going to speak about? Then you will quickly check your appearance. Don't be doing this all the time when you're live. Check your appearance, and when you are ready, a couple of deep breaths, hit the go live button. When you hit the go live button, you'll get that 3-second countdown. And once it hits 1, the live button appears at the top of your screen and you are then broadcasting. So everything you do from that point is being seen and heard. So be very conscious of that. Once the 3, 2, 1 has happened, that's it, you are live. So those are my basic tips. The other thing just to know is that when you finish your live, you will get an option to save that video to your page. I would highly recommend that you do that. Save it to your page because it allows people to catch up later. You can then share that across your other social media. You can even share those onto your website if you wanted, or your blog. But it allows people to come on and watch you. So even though they're not watching you live, they're still able to interact and watch that video. I've noticed that a few people are coming on after I've finished a live and they're commenting as they're watching, even though it's not live, they're coming on and interacting with the video as they're watching. So people will still do that, they'll still react and respond to points that you're making, even though they're not watching you live, they're watching your recording. So it's an amazing way to get video out there really quickly as well, because once you've recorded it, it's done and everyone can access it. As long as you're happy with it, but try not to keep deleting them, because the more human and real you are, the more likely you are to draw people who are like you and who actually are drawn to you. So try not to let it put you off too much. So that's my final little point. Do save it, do pop it onto the Facebook page that it's come from, because it's an amazing way to kind of build more interest and get more people to see your videos. So I hope that has helped. Those are just some real beginner tips on getting to grips with Facebook Live and how to use it. I know there's lots of worries about what to say, how to script it, how to get people to act at the end of the Facebook Lives and that sort of thing. And I will be covering all of that in the coming week to 10 days live on Light of 1,000 Stars on the page. So keep looking out for those live videos and I will try to go through some of this. For those of you who are in the UK, I'm going to be running a in-person workshop in Leeds, in the north of the UK. So that's coming up in July and I will have a date for you this week. So look out for that. Make sure you're signed up to my newsletter so that you get details of that, and you can sign up to my newsletter on my website www.lightof1000stars.co.uk. I will pop the link underneath this video so that you can click on it and go through to the website and you'll see the little box to sign up to the newsletter. You'll also get, as a thank you for signing up, you'll also get a free audio training course from me. It's in 3 parts and it's all about building your confidence to speak, to use your